Thank you for clicking on. You shouldn't click on this. I'm sorry you clicked on this, but I mean, I guess if you're watching this far, we're gonna talk about the movie Reggie's Prayer. I'm Martin Prevost. This is Smashy Smashy Eggman, movie reviews and more. Joining me for this trip down memory lane is Aj Robinson.
I don't wanna.
And Courtney Krause.
You can't make me.
So we just literally finished watching Reggie's Prayer. This is the Christian movie that Reggie White made back in 1996 that came out in 1997. It stars Reggie White, Pat Morita, Paul the Giant / Big Show White, and nobody else of any note. So I guess before... Oh, it also features NFL stars Brett Favre, Mike Holmgren, Keith Jackson, Mel Renfro, Rosie Greer. I don't know who any of those people are after Mike Holmgren. And MC Hammer was in this thing somewhere. I have no idea.
I totally forgot about that.
I forgot.
How did we forget about MC Hammer?
I forgot about MC Hammer. I think I might have to pull out my phone quickly and figure out who.
You can figure that out while you're asking a question or something.
Yeah, I'll figure it out once
Proper segues.
Yes. So, AJ, Courtney.
Yeah.
How, I know this isn't, I know for all of us this is the first time we all watched this movie. But, how, when were you first aware, I guess we can put this up there for right this second. When were you first aware that Reggie's Prayer, about Reggie's Prayer?
Well, I mean, it's been a couple of years that we've talked about watching this. And I'm usually not for time travel, but if I could go back in time and prevent myself from ever considering this as a movie, it being a potential to watch, or go back in time and stop him from making this mistake, I would do that.
Okay. Courtney, when was the first time you became aware of Reggie's Prayer?
When you texted me, hey, do you want to watch Reggie's Prayer?
So,
how does that make you feel?
Did I hurt you in some way?
We'll talk later. I have been aware of this movie since it first came out, back in 1996. For some reason, my brother, who wasn't a football fan in any way, shape, or form, had this movie on VHS. I had almost completely forgotten about this movie for the longest time. Except over the last year, I would go out to the Shawano Flea Market. And there was one vendor that was there every time that had a VHS copy of Reggie's Prayer. So I kept seeing it and going, oh yeah, this might be interesting to do a review for. But I never bought the VHS. Then I went to Half Price Books. And sitting with a clearance tag, not in the clearance section, it was next to the selling desk, was this.
Did they give you money?
The DVD copy of Reggie's Prayer. Now, because I would never have imagined this movie would have come out on DVD, I had to buy it and put this thing together. Because why was this movie put out on DVD?
Well, in Reggie's defense, this is a powerful family film.
Thank you. We'll get to the back of the box in just a second.
Do we have to?
Yes. So MC Hammer.
Oh yeah. Who was he?
In
the movie.
If I read the credit correctly, he was the ranger who he grabbed next to the van and then was talking. He never had an establishing scene. He was
that guy.
That was MC Hammer.
Wait,
because it just says ranger, and that's the only ranger I can think of.
Next to the van.
The guy who's walking Big Show away at the end of the movie.
When they ran up to the
but that
Ranger
wasn't even.
station.
It wasn't even the van. That was by the raft.
Sorry, the dude who walks. Well, he meets him at the van. He doesn't have any dialogue there. Tells him to come with him, and then he comes back.
Unlike the random white guy who's actually from Oregon, who's in the background with a nice big handlebar mustache, who's actually prepping the boat.
Now, if any of this has been hard for you to follow,
the movie is just as hard to follow. So I guess background. Yeah. So Reggie White, if you don't know who Reggie White is, he was a very popular football player who played for the Philadelphia Eagles and then moved to the Green Bay Packers.
And then played for the Panthers for
At
what
the-
season?
For one season.
Two.
One.
One?
Just the 2000 season. He played on the same Packers team that Brett Favre played on, who I'm wearing a jersey for, because I have no other Packer apparel. He was a defensive
end?
I was going to say end or tackle.
No, it could have been a tackle because he was always moving. I don't know. The game has evolved a lot since.
These are the people I know who know football, so I'm just...
And we just had to sit through that, so I have no brain capacity anymore.
I honestly wish I was more drunk.
But Reggie White
Still haven't drunk at all.
got to the level of popularity where not only could he do a movie, he had his own store in Green Bay.
Yeah.
He had candy bars with his likeness on them.
He was huge.
He
in Green Bay.
was, like, him and Brett Favre were the two biggest named players on the Packers at that time.
Yeah.
Like, you have a lot of other players who were locally big named players. Brett Favre and Reggie White were nationally known.
Well, and when the Packers won the Super Bowl, it was Reggie White with the Lombardi Trophy. That was the image
Yeah.
we saw in all the newspapers and everything.
So,
Well, I mean, he was a free agent who came to the Packers and helped enable the Packers to victory.
yes.
So
Oh,
it
yeah.
makes sense,
He
even
was
though, like,
an
you
incredible
had,
defensive player.
what, 93? You have both the Dotson brothers,
Yeah.
you had
Yeah.
Brooks, you
We
had
have Brown
Bubba
by then?
Franks.
By the
No,
time they won the
93.
Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's who Reggie White was. He was a huge man of faith. I can't remember the exact denomination.
Again, I'm guessing Baptist.
I think
Not Southern Baptist because they're all white people. Because what? Southern Baptists are the only denomination that were pro-slavery.
Oh, okay. Well,
And now you know.
now I know.
no, it just half the battle. But yeah, so he was.
That's even what I was going for. That once again.
Never
all,
been hanging.
all that just happened right there.
Unless
That
you're
was
Pat
about
Morita.
as
Unless
easy
you're
to
Pat
follow.
Morita, then you leave Pat Morita hanging.
That was about as easy to follow as this movie. We haven't started talking about the plot
No,
yet
no, we
because we
haven't.
don't know how.
I'm trying to actually find anything that's going to tell me his.
While you do that, do you want
Hold
me
on,
to read the
Abandoned
back of the box?
Christianity and was studying Judaism.
Yeah.
Oh, he was a heretic. That makes sense.
All right. So I guess let's read. Normally I don't do the back of the box unless I'm looking for something stupid, funny that's on the box. But this movie was so hard to follow that one, we've been talking for a couple of minutes now and have barely. I mean, we had to do the Reggie White overview.
Yeah.
That's necessary
Well,
for.
It was hard to follow because there was no discernible plot. Every time
Literally
you
not.
came to a fork in the road, you thought, I know the direction they're going, and then they would literally they would just completely disappear, go poof,
Yeah.
and then jump to another plot.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna read the back of this box, and you guys. We'll get to that. AJ already read Powerful Family Fun, which has no credit. That is like one of those blurbs you'd find on the box telling you like a reporter that said something. It has no
quote.
No quote. It just literally Powerful Family Fun. Family film.
Okay.
There's no quote. Here's another quote. Superstar turned high school coach transforms at-risk kids into champions.
Oh, that's what he did.
Is that what they were already champions?
Yeah.
And
That was the thing that was said in the
Yeah,
movie, is that
yeah.
they won how many
And
championships.
I'm pretty sure he only transformed the one kid.
yes.
And maybe the random kid who got brought in because he owed the other kid money.
Yeah. Alright, so, due to the death of a young child involved in a convenience store robbery, they robbed a convenience store?
They sent the kid in to do the robbery and then out of guilt he
I
shot
didn't-
himself? That's not what I took out of it.
I did not understand it, honestly.
I didn't understand that opening either, with the dude walking and...
And like they never fully showed if that was, because you would assume that was Reggie, but then when you looked at the funeral,
Yeah.
the guy in the trench coat wasn't Reggie, and either way the dude was walking like he had just
Yeah.
grabbed his pants and was like trying to quit fighting
Football
back.
superstar Reggie Knox, Reggie White, because why give him a fully different name?
Even though it's still same
Yep.
team, same position, all of that.
Retires at the top of his game to become a coach and 10th grade history teacher at Principal Asaki's, Pat Morita's, inner city high school.
Mr. Miyagi.
Mr. Miyagi, yes.
I have two issues with that. One, the retirement. They so clearly filmed that in like a random warehouse, and we're like, hey, we're just gonna put some chairs out.
Yep.
All right, people sit here. Oh crap, this still looks like a warehouse. Also, no one gets a teaching job that fast.
Also, I don't know what his academics were, so I have no idea if he's even qualified.
So as someone that has, wanted to be a teacher since they were 8 and had quite a journey to get their first teaching job, the fact that he just retired and
You
had
don't
this
understand. You don't understand. He was teaching kids that don't matter.
And he was famous. And he could teach football. He could coach the football.
Plus, he was filthy rich and had connections.
You should have learned how to coach the football.
And had connections. And been filthy rich. And been an ex-football player.
Yeah.
And been a 7-foot giant black man who was a dominator on the field.
Speaking of giants,
I
segue.
Ooh, hey.
Mr. Portola, the giant from WCW, the neighborhood thug, has been recruiting kids into the fringes of street crime. When a high school football player gets tangled up in Portola's underworld schemes, he actually gets caught up before he starts playing football.
Actually,
okay, so we're skipping 90% of this movie here. The boy is kidnapped.
The boy was kidnapped.
That's the end of the movie.
Oh yeah, that's the random spot when they're like, you know what, we're just going to be in the woods, we're going to put masking tape.
A wilderness chase puts Reggie against Portola, while the life of a 16-year-old boy hangs in the balance between good and evil. That's the last 20 minutes of the movie.
In their defense, that is how you turn kids into champions.
I guess.
And the ring ain't the thing.
I still have another paragraph.
Oh dear God!
Reggie's strong Christian faith, as well as his love for God's children, is a powerful testament in this inspirational family film. Taking a lesson from Jesus, Parable of the Lost Sheep, for some reason Parable of the Lost Sheep is quotated. Reggie shows all of us that salvation for even one child or lost sheep is more important than any material possessed, including winning a Super Bowl ring, which he had done by the time this movie was made.
Honestly,
that is not working for me.
That is...
Screw it, we're doing it old school. So yeah, that's the plot. That's the plot on the back of the box. It jumps most of this movie to get to the ending.
Yeah.
Which I wish we could have done.
Right.
Same.
So I would love to walk through this movie. However,
I don't know how.
I don't know what happened.
Honestly,
for most of this movie.
For most of the movie, we were watching it and just in absolute awe because we didn't know what was happening. I was honestly trying to follow.
I was too.
Same.
I was really trying to follow what was happening and why it was happening, but things happened for the dude in the bathroom who was flossing.
Yeah, that man.
The guy who saw the gun.
Oh my God! Oh, the gun! A gun!
Okay, I think we need to try it. So, apparently, a group of thugs rob a convenience store.
Okay. Yes.
That
in
part
Kentucky.
That part I followed.
The kid then shoots himself, but this is intercut with a sermon that Reggie White is attending, which is cool. Except I don't think it's happening simultaneously.
It's not, and then Reggie
because
gives...
one's night, one's day.
Yep.
Reggie gives a sermon, and then all of a sudden,
we're
at a funeral, and we have no idea why...
Which, this child that has killed himself has about 6 people at his funeral, 2 of whom are Reggie White and his wife, who apparently have no connection to this child, except Reggie was friends with the child's uncle. The uncle then takes the suicide kid's 2 brothers with him to Oregon after offering Reggie White a teaching job. I'm just going to call him Reggie White.
He offered
a coaching job with a teaching job attached to it.
To be fair, in his defense, he was like, we're in the inner city, this kid just killed himself, we're going to transplant ourselves to the whitest area in the world, surrounded by apparently the deepest black population in the country.
I mean, why not?
I'm just following the logic.
Yeah,
here.
I'm following the logic too. That's what
Because
I'm trying to do.
That is the logic of it.
Because almost all of those kids were black.
Yes.
Because, like, if it was an inner city movie, I would have understood. But they went to Oregon.
Yep.
Like,
Not inner city.
they might as well just go on to Utah and
Or
be like,
it was Oregon.
brothers.
It was Oregon or Green Bay posing for Oregon.
That one,
Yeah.
So Reggie turns down the job, and he goes home, and he has a dream. He has a vision,
Dream.
a prophecy. God shows him something. There's a song being sung.
slavery songs.
I wasn't gonna say it, but I set it up for you to say it.
I know. It's what it was.
And he decides to retire from the Green Bay Packers.
Low, sweet chariot.
He decides to retire from the Green Bay Packers, and he then moves his
I didn't
family.
write it.
He then moves his family to Oregon. His family, which up to this point in this movie has consisted of himself and his wife.
Yes. That is important.
That is important for a rant I have at the end.
I'm excited for that one.
Yes, this is important. So, he begins his teaching job. He meets the principal, Pat Morita, Mr. Miyagi. He is, I'm guessing, given his curriculum and told a story that I don't remember, even though it's said 3 times in the movie about rocks.
Yeah, when in that first moment when he says the first stone, and I was like, what the crap is he
Yep.
referring to?
So, Reggie then goes to his history class, where somehow he knows the students by name, though it's his first day.
Oh, he knows all of them by name.
Yes.
Literally all of them. I am a teacher for my profession. We are a little over a month into the school year. I still don't know all of the students' names.
Yes. He knew one of the transplanted kids by name, but because it's never really made clear that was one of the transplanted kids by then, it's really awkward, and it just seems weird.
Confession time. I never knew they were transplanted. I thought they were just always in Oregon.
Nope, they were the transplanted ones from...
That's how clear this movie
yes,
is.
That's because you're confused because parts of that movie were shot in Green Bay.
Yes! When you start recognizing
Places that you've physically been.
Literally, there was one moment where they're like, that's Tower Street Bridge.
I know that, Chris. I just drove over there last week.
That's Tower Drive Bridge.
Oh, so when I drove over there, I said, oh, I'm obviously in Oregon.
Right. So Reggie goes to his office. He sees a plaque that he hates. He goes to coach the football, and he starts doing push-ups. And for some reason, this makes the team start doing he doesn't say anything.
No,
he doesn't
starts
doing push-ups.
Right. He doesn't go, this is a challenge, I want to make you guys think. He just starts doing push-ups. And they start doing push-ups.
To be fair, and one of the transplanted kids that you don't know is one of the transplanted kids starts
doing the push-ups. Yes. The brother of the other one, who I'm still not clear that they were brothers until the last 30 minutes of this movie.
Oh yeah, no. I didn't know that they were brothers until he handed him the game ball and then got shot.
Right there.
Sorry, spoilers.
So they do the push-ups, and this thing is filmed so poorly, you can clearly tell people being told to start doing the push-ups because the camera was on them, and people who were definitely not doing push-ups. There was one guy who was in frame with Reggie.
Knee was on the ground.
His knee was on the ground.
Butt up in the air.
Yep.
Full 90 degrees.
This is horrible, and this isn't the end of my rant of horrible filmmaking in this movie.
That's generous.
Right. It's all horrible filmmaking.
I'm surprised you have the two of us here because you're like, I don't know what I'm going to talk about. You're just going to rant the entire time. We're going to give comments.
That's what this is turning into, and I'm fine with that. So, after they go into the locker room and he says, oh, by the way, this football team has won a ton of championships over the past years.
Ton.
They are recurring champions. Which totally throws out any idea of he's going to bring them a championship. They have championships.
In fact, one of the kids even tells Reggie Knox, who is Reggie White, who is one of the most dominant defensive players in NFL history.
You suck.
That we have more championships than you have sacks.
That's a lot of championships.
Like, there are teams that don't have as many championships as he has sacks in a single game.
That is true. That is true, especially since he has... Thank you.
This is going to sound great!
Oh yeah. This is going to, here we go, NFL career stats.
I'm committed.
Career stats.
There we go, down bottom.
198.
Whoa!
That means, and that, of course, we're adding a couple of extra years from when this movie was made. But let's call it 150. Let's say he only made 43 sacks in the last 3 years he played football. That's a real low estimation.
Still impressive.
That is an impressive number of championships this high school team has won. It's 150 championships.
Basically, it sounds like they've had one a year since they created.
Right. Since they created? Alright. Reggie then demands the children buy $10 t-shirts that are being screen printed by another player. Which they all do. We find out later in the movie.
And apparently, one of the kids has his own screen printing business because it literally on the back said, he said, my nickname's Big Daddy, and it says Big Daddy printing on the back.
That's called an entrepreneur.
At some point we missed meeting the Weasley drug dealer who's for some reason on school campus, but nobody kicks him out, who meets one of the transplanted kids and wants him to join him. The transplanted kid wakes up in the middle of the night on a bunk bed that clearly his brother is not on the upper part of.
And his part is really low to the ground.
Really low to the ground. He sneaks out of his house to become a drug dealer. But it's okay, because the next day, he changes his mind and tries to return the drugs. Except, he's one packet of drugs short. And the Big Show, the giant WCW wrestler Paul White...
Wait, so that's why that all happened? I missed that.
Yes!
I missed that.
I mean, that was a loose reason why?
That was the given reason. So, they decide that they're not going to let him stop being a drug dealer, and for some reason give him a gun.
Yeah, he was 9 out of 10.
Also, just gonna feel like this is relevant. For, up to now, they wouldn't let us see the Big Show's face. There was a giant lamp in the way.
There was a giant lamp, though you could tell it was him. Anyone who watched WCW at the time knew it was him. And towards the end of this video, I'm going to talk more about WCW as well. There's going to be a special bonus feature on this video, which is going to be awful.
You thought this was going to be a short video.
This is a long one. This is a long one. Especially because I have multiple people. This is a podcast. You put this on in your car and you go drive somewhere listening to us talk Reggie's Prayer.
I might. Well, as one of the number one listeners.
So he gets the gun. Reggie, for some reason, sees him out a window, though there's no shot of him seeing him out the window.
I was really confused why he just started taking off down the stairs.
Runs him into a bathroom where a dude is flossing for reasons.
Yeah.
With a big beard. I think he was another teacher. He had to be another teacher.
He had to have been another teacher.
Never established. And
but he never showed up really since.
Nope.
Maybe one time, but it was insignificant.
It was so insignificant.
But it was such a big moment because he's in there.
And they go to him twice, just been...
Yeah.
Yeah, he confronts him with the drugs. He actually witnesses this. He witnesses Reggie flushing the drugs down the toilet. He sees the gun in the backpack, and then of course Reggie, with his classic line, comes out of the stall, and the kid walks in. And what does he say?
I was constipated.
No, you've never been constipated before?
The line has no purpose. It exists.
Also, just going to point out, because the teacher immediately thought, when he confronted him in the bathroom, literally, lifts him up and shoves him against the half wall. No way in hell a teacher would do that.
And just so we're all aware,
the 90s.
I'm really surprised I'm walking through this movie as well as I am right now.
I am too. You're pointing out things I didn't even know happened. And I was there.
Yep, she was there. She was watching it. So from there, nothing happens.
Literally nothing.
Literally, they go for a run or a jog.
They go for a military
march.
It's
like a hot march.
Which is when they're all wearing their shirts. There's a scene between the two brothers, but because they were never established as brothers before that moment, I was questioning what the hell the scene was.
Yeah.
And eventually we get to a football game.
But still no football.
The first game of the season, and Reggie is about to go out to the field, and he runs into the janitors, played by former Packers head coach Mike Holmgren, and former Packer quarterback Brett Favre.
Great wedding.
Great wedding.
surprised he didn't get John Madden to be in this movie. So
well, he had already committed to Little Giants.
They give Reggie White a play that they want him to use as a coach, which of course is going to come back. And then Reggie walks off, and they're useless. I don't know why. Brett Favre almost walks into a camera.
And stumbles over his
Favre.
line. Yeah,
Yep.
Bert Favre.
Bert Favre.
Stumbles over his own lines.
And
those were apparently the takes they wanted to keep.
Yep. We then get no shots of the actual football game. Now we're in the locker room. And I initially thought this was the locker room before the game.
Oh, that's what I thought.
Like,
I
this is the
100%
motivating
thought it
speech.
was before the game.
But instead it's Reggie giving out the game ball to one of the brothers, who then gives the game ball to his brother.
Which is where the big reveal is. You find out they're related.
Yep. There's then a tussle over the game ball, and I looked away for a split second, but apparently in that split second, a gun went...
No, see, because what happened is the same backpack that they showed us had a gun in it earlier,
Yes.
and 2 teachers did nothing about... Nothing. I will say this was pretty qualified. So...
Doesn't help.
Doesn't help, but explains why 2 teachers saw a gun in the backpack, did nothing. As they're handing the game ball, like, a friend goes to take it so he can't get it, and so they start kind of tussling with it, and the backpack somehow gets grabbed, and they're just, literally, it's like they're just going like this with the backpack, and the gun goes off.
Which, as the local of the 3 here, firearm owner, that is not how guns work at all.
They both reach, and so
not
the
even
gun,
close.
the gun shoots the other brother in the spine, and he is rushed to a local medical facility. I'm using wrestling terms now, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
It is a wrestling movie.
He
There
gets
was
shot.
wrestling.
He gets shot. No gunshot wound. No blood.
No blood. He gets
No
rushed.
screaming.
Yes, he gets rushed to the
On the
hospital
ground.
where you find out he's in a coma. He needs a breathing apparatus because nerves are damaged.
And the
for
most
his lungs.
important part, when they find out he can't use his lungs, they ask, will he ever walk again?
Yes. Yep. So the kid who had the gun runs back to his drug dealer, who decides to kill him and bury him in the dark woods. So Reggie White and for some
like the principal shows up.
Yep, I was about to say,
Oh.
Reggie White and for some reason Pat Morita go to the drug dealer's lair, because they know where the drug dealer's lair is, to confront him, where we get an awful camera-worked fight. You have a professional wrestler, a man who knows how to do combat, a man who knows how to make things look good,
Yeah.
and they filmed it so poorly. He did all of the fighting correctly. He did all the moves right. But the camera is in such a crappy position, it all looks bad. It all looks bad. And it makes the giant look like he doesn't know what he's doing when he actually does. Also, Reggie White had a pink tank top on.
Very manly.
Oh, we missed the trade. The giant opens a briefcase.
No, not before. It's not open because
No, I'm starting with the opening. When he first opens it and you can't see what's in it, and he starts making train noises. Chugga, 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 chugga. Just a cut later, it being a toy train in the briefcase.
Which he then lifts up and slips some money under.
And the train comes back. Why? I don't know.
The best part is it does come back at the end of the movie because a child is playing with it.
Child is playing
Oh,
with
he
that.
also marks where he wants to kill the kid on a map, which is apparently important, though it's not important.
Even though they don't show you,
To see if that would be necessary.
it was just a thing.
Yep.
He drops the map, you don't really know it's the map, but you find out it's the map because he finds him, but you're always wondering, well, that seems like a plot point. When are they actually going to establish the plot point and the connection? He doesn't just pick it up, he just has it. It's
Right.
just added to inventory.
Yep. So the giant drives away with the kid in the back of a van. Reggie White, I guess, takes the map,
Apparently.
Apparently.
and gives pursuit to the wilderness that requires a boat to access.
A raft. to be
A
fair.
raft. Which is where MC
Yeah, they
Hammer
kept
comes
calling
in.
it a boat.
This is where MC Hammer comes in. Reggie White then becomes Sylvester Stallone and Rambo.
Literally war paint on the face.
Yep. To hunt down the giant who is chopping wood and talking to the kid about inventory.
No. He was not chopping wood. They cut to him pushing through wood, which means he didn't even chop it. It was pre-cut.
Yep.
And then they balanced it, and they filmed him going like this. Ugh.
Yep.
Yeah.
Reggie shows up that night, rescues the kid, has another fight with the giant, which is not lit correctly.
Can't see anything.
You can't see anything that's going on.
Natural lighting.
They beat the giant and decide to stay in the wilderness
And
or
keep
go back
camping?
to the and keep camping. Then they take the giant back to civilization.
Hold on.
In a poncho.
They went camping while talking about how he's going to be a champion, even though he's responsible for shooting his brother, having a firearm on school property, and being a drug dealer.
Yep.
Nope. It was like, but the coach.
Yep.
The coach is the one that lost his job.
So you find out over a news broadcast that the kid who got shot is okay and is probably going to walk again, and that the coach has been fired. Nothing about the brother who had the gun.
No, he was suspended. He didn't get fired yet.
He was suspended. So the giant is taken into custody by MC Hammer, who has the only lines in this movie he has, which is him just like, I caught him, and I'm going to be a hero, and I just wanted him to shut up. Because this character was never established.
Then proceeding to the awkward driving montage?
Yep, then we got to the awkward driving montage, where they had the windshield wipers on, but they were filming through the windshield, so all you heard was wee, as they were having a conversation and had McDonald's product placement.
Yeah, and also the window's fogging up so you can't see anything, because why would you turn the defrosters on?
So I have no idea.
Because then you couldn't hear.
Oh.
So I have no idea what that scene was. I then cut to another game 3 weeks later. There's no screen that tells you this. Somebody physically says it's 3 weeks later. Where the school board votes on if the
Buy
kid...
a piece of paper.
Buy a piece of paper.
They write yes or no.
Which I don't even know. Did they even write on it?
I have no idea. I have no idea.
To be fair,
They did mark on the paper.
Did they?
Yeah.
I think so.
I personally keep around pieces of paper and say yes or no on it all the time, but normal people don't.
To vote if kid who should be in jail should be allowed to play football. He then, I guess he's allowed to because Pat Morita has to break a tie. So he goes out and his brother walks.
But also in that moment, Reggie officially got, I think, fired.
Yeah, Reggie officially is done. He's no longer coach.
Also just walked away from teaching.
Yet he still gives them the game-winning play, which is Mike Holmgren and Brett Favre's play from earlier.
Bert Favre.
Which then gives us our only football in this movie,
where there was a guy in sweatpants.
Yep.
And then he didn't run in slow motion. He military marched in slow motion.
Yep.
While a guy who didn't get to military march fell over because he doesn't know how to run.
Well, for some reason, every light in the background was flashing.
Yep. All flickering.
Well, flickering, yeah. It was all flickering. So they won the game. I don't know if this is an important game or not, but they won the game.
You can assume it's a championship game.
Reggie then goes to the train station where we see the kid playing with the train set. That
Which was
Big
the
Show had.
drug
Kid playing with
briefcase.
Yep. Reggie gets on a train, asks a dude his name, but this has no payoff whatsoever. Because the dude says his name and then it just disappears.
Just walks in the train.
Reggie then gets on the train, and we have, as the train is pulling out, a voiceover of Reggie talking to someone about what's going to happen next. Because he retired from football, and he's no longer a teacher. And he says, well, I guess I'm going to go back to Green Bay and play for the Packers again, because we got to beat those Cowboys. Then you find out the person he's having this conversation with is his son, who has never been mentioned or shown in this entire movie. This character has a child. We met his wife once.
Yep, 2 scenes.
She was in 2
scenes.
She was in 2 scenes.
Well, technically, you only meet them once.
At no point, though, when he retires or any other point in this movie, do you see him have a son. Just in this one voiceover moment, because I think they went, this isn't an ending, so we need a little more. But for some reason, they couldn't just get his wife to do the voiceover, even though it was actually Reggie White's wife. So why he couldn't just go, hey, honey, can you say these lines for us to finish this movie? No, they brought in a kid and had the kid read the lines, which I think might actually be Reggie White's kid, because I know there's a third person in the IMDb with the last name White credited in this movie, so I'm just going to assume that's his kid. And he went, oh man, I forgot to put my kid in the movie, so therefore he can do a voiceover at the end as my son without ever establishing that he had a son before this moment. Yes, AJ.
Tell me how you really feel.
Yeah. I feel like you're holding back.
I said I was going to rant on this, didn't I?
Oh, we let you do it.
So yeah, so that's how Reggie's prayer ends. There wasn't a lot of praying in this movie. Like he reached, like it says he used God to reach out to the kids, but
he did have a couple of spiritual monologues.
And he had a moment where he stood on a table after
and ate a sandwich. He did reach the kids.
Yes.
And he did have 2 dreams.
Yes.
About the kids being like sacrificial lambs to an extent.
There was an actual sheep in the movie, and
then we did get to watch the end. Going through this, find out apparently he was pursuing Judaism.
Yeah.
And so this film really does make sense in the sense that he's insane.
Yeah. Also, if you stay for the end credits, there's a gag reel. I use the quotes, which none of this is funny.
None of it's funny, but there is
a deleted moment where I guess he got into another fight with the giant and tackles him.
And Reggie did try to cut wood, and she was in the bathroom at the time, so she doesn't think it's real.
So sad. All it was before that was just repeating the same 2 moments of the gag reel. So I was like, well, clearly nothing important's going to happen. I'm going to go pee. And then as soon as I go pee, that happens.
You start laughing because it's the first funny thing in this movie.
The best part of the whole movie.
And I missed it.
You missed it.
Now, I'm going to be completely honest here. I have a very low bar as far as Christian movies go. I think 90% of them are awful.
Yeah.
And not even because they're low budget. Like, I can forgive low budget movies. I think they're awful for a lot of other reasons. Mainly, I think instead of trying to get a message through with a story, they try to get a message and then just kind of shove a story as a secondary thought. Instead of trying to let the story progress what they're trying to say. This one I think is bad for whole different reasons. I think it is still a bad Christian film because I don't think it knew what it wanted its message to be, and it didn't know what it wanted its story to be. So it had neither, and they still tried to go ahead and make this movie.
Well, I have to disagree. They obviously meant to have a superstar turned high school coach, which transforms at-risk kids into champions, which it technically did.
For one kid.
2 kids.
When I read that...
Because there's the kid that never played football, who owed the other kid money, who got suckered into the team.
Yes.
So 2 kids in the champions.
So...
I missed all of that.
When I read that, what I hear is this should have been a Christian version of Basically Dangerous Minds, except using football to help... Remember the Titans. This should be Remember the Titans.
Yeah.
Maybe a more scaled down, maybe facing the Giants, if we want to keep it in the same
Which
scope.
was substantially better.
Yes, Facing the Giants is a substantially better Christian film.
I mean, it's super cliche.
Yes,
and
it is.
I hate cliches. But at least, for it being cliche, that, I lose, if it was a 10 out of 10, just all based upon how many cliches there were, it automatically becomes a 6 out of 10.
Yeah. No,
But at least, Facing the Giants, I give a 5 out of 10. Which is, it's a decent movie.
It is.
I personally own it, because I know people, that's a good, clean movie to watch. It actually has good messages. It has continuity. It has a direction.
Yes.
This has none of that.
None of that.
None of it.
And even if you're a football fan, there isn't anything here for a football fan because all the football isn't there.
I love football. I love the Packers. I love God. I got none of that!
Right. It's not... There's so many things wrong with this movie, and this movie released in foreign countries. This movie wasn't just a Green Bay movie. It went to other places to try to get people to watch it. They tried to use Reggie White's name to do more, and I think this was the wrong product for it.
This, by what you just told me, is why the world hates America.
It might be.
I get it now.
I get it now.
I hate us.
And that's just it. I have no problem with people shelling out and making movies. Like, I think I always have a low bar when someone who's not an actor starts doing movies and tries to star in them right away. And I'm not going to say Reggie White. I think Pat Morita was probably the best actor in this movie. And even he wasn't that great in it. He was definitely didn't care. Huh? He wasn't. But he was definitely the best actor in this movie. Paul White, I think, got real bad direction because he maniacally laughed way more than he should have. It became distracting. But yeah, overall, is this the worst movie I've ever seen? Is this the worst movie I've ever reviewed on this channel? No.
Is it close?
It's down there.
All right.
It's down there.
That's saying a lot.
It's not as bad as All About Eve. I didn't hate watching it as much. Maybe because I was with you guys. Maybe because I was with people. I didn't hate it as much as All About Eve. I despise it less than C-Spot Run. And I just... Go watch that review. I hate that movie.
Yeah, you do.
And it's more watchable than Chronicle. And those being my 3 least favorite movies I've ever reviewed, it's at least 4 at the worst. I would have to go back through my list of what else I've talked about, but those are the 3 that I know I reviewed strictly because I did not like them. And I wanted to review them because I did not like them. But I don't think it's as bad as any of those. Am I ever going to watch this movie again? Absolutely not.
Oh.
You couldn't pay me to watch this movie again. There's not even haha value in this movie. It's just confusing and boring once you get past being confused.
I don't know. I'm still confused.
Same.
Final thoughts from the 2 of you?
Well, to start off, there are 3 pictures on the back of this. One of them is them playing football.
That never happened.
Yeah, here's the scene where they have the Central Pride.
Yep, that's the scene where he stands on the table and bites a sandwich.
Sandwich. Okay.
And then hands the sandwich off to the principal.
Yes.
All right. And then we have
him on the train station.
Okay, we got the end of the movie at the beginning. So we'll just pretend that one doesn't exist because this is literally the end of the movie, basically. So you have Central Pride, inner city kids, and the football handoff here. And you only got one real scene of football in this whole thing, other than practice, and there really wasn't much for practice either.
And I feel like he only had 2 scenes where he was really trying to reach out to the students.
Yeah.
Like, not as players, just the students. And that was the classroom scene and that scene.
Yeah. So you literally had designated to this movie about 3 solid minutes of what it actually advertises.
Yeah.
Which is the real big issue for me in this movie. And also, it's called Reggie's Prayer, and therefore it touts itself as a movie about faith.
Mm-hmm.
And, I've done a lot of things concerning faith, and obviously I'm not going to get into my spiritual journey here because, gosh, that's a whole, 10-hour segment in its own right. But I did not get anything spiritual in this movie other than a couple of, mysterious spiritual, dreams that he had. And as far as inner city kids, the only real inner city thing that happened was the real negligent thing that happened on the school premises, where there was an obvious criminal gang being run out of the school, which apparently people knew about.
Yep.
And the football thing, I got nothing.
Yeah.
This should have been football themed. This should have been the kind of the idea of facing the Giants, where it was someone who took faith, and they didn't even have to use faith, but a man of faith using scriptural principles to build up, as it touts, an inner city team, a team who weren't champions before, and then teaches them how to be disciplined, how to be proud in themselves, how to look forward to the future, that they actually have value, and they don't have to rely on drugs or violence,
Right.
as this has in this movie. And then they go, oh, we have a future, and we're going to pour that into this. This is going to be the image. This will be what defines us as champions, and we can use this as a springboard for the rest of our life. That, even if it was a bad movie, I would have went, I understand this movie.
Same.
There's nothing about this movie that that has any value that is redeemable.
Right. Courtney?
I don't know words anymore.
Okay.
I wonder what I did to hurt you.
Send it on Twitter. This sounds familiar.
I don't know anymore.
So, before I go into the final wrap-up, I got two more things I want to point out about this case. One, Reggie White is never... Look up any image of this movie. You'll find this picture. It's Reggie White taking a knee in his Packer jersey. Never any point in this movie does he wear his Packer gear.
Nope.
Never any point in this movie.
And in his retirement, there's not even like Packer logos in the background.
There's a kid wearing a Packer jersey in the crowd.
In fact, not only does he not wear the Packer jersey, for a lot of this movie, we weren't even sure if he, at this point in the movie, he had played for the Packers or he was playing for the Eagles. We knew it was a legitimate NFL team.
Yeah.
But Philadelphia was mentioned. At one point, Green Day was mentioned. And you went, okay, now we know he played for the Packers at some point. But when he played for the Packers, he won a championship.
Yeah.
Yep.
The other thing I noticed while I was looking at this box, there's something I didn't read because it wasn't part of the synopsis. However, after I read it while AJ was talking and I was listening to AJ, I was reading this. I feel it needs to be read because it says added bonus. So these are added bonus features. Now, when we put in this disc, it only had 3 options: play, chapters, and trailers for other movies released by this group, right?
Should have been 4th. Runaway.
Yep. The added bonus were outtakes from the making of Reggie's Prayer. So those outtakes at the end of the movie were apparently a bonus feature.
Did not feel like a bonus.
And during the closing credits, you could hear a moving rendition of the hymn Amazing Grace sung by Reggie White. Those are the bonuses on this disc.
So the ending of the movie?
The very, during the credits, you could hear him singing.
Yeah.
Those are the bonuses.
That's the end of the movie because he's actually out there on the waters.
Yep.
Huh.
Yep. You don't ask me. I'm just reading what the case says. So this has been Reggie's Prayer.
It's your turn?
Huh?
Is it your turn to have a final say and be mad at this?
I think I already did. I think I've been
that
doing
was-
this
Is
entire
Andy not
movie.
listening to him this entire time?
As a general wrap-up.
I wouldn't recommend this movie for anything.
There we go. That's a good wrap-up.
But yeah, so I have an channel announcement tacked on at the end of this, so anyone who's made it this far, good job.
Proud of myself.
Effective the last Wednesday in February, I will no longer be doing the weekly format. I'll still be posting videos, it just won't be the weekly format I've been doing up until now. This is the last week of January.
Got it.
So we have a time reference here.
Okay.
Okay.
Because...
Yes, I know where we are versus...
We are in the month that is not January.
Yes, but this is slotted for the last week of January. So yeah, 4 more weeks of the regular Wednesday videos, and then I'm just going to move to more of the bonus stuff that I've been doing versus the weekly format. So that's the channel update.
Hey!
Now, as a very special thing that I'm going to tack on to the end of this video. So the giant Paul White is in this movie, and the only reason I can think that he is in this movie is because Reggie White made a deal with World Championship Wrestling. To use the giant in this movie, he fought former NFL player Steve Mungo McMichaels in a wrestling match, and me, AJ, and Courtney are going to do a commentary for said match for you right now. By right now, I mean the video is going to cut, and it's going to come back to us watching this wrestling match.
I have no idea who that is, so I am both excited, titillated, and terrified.
All right.
Yeah.
Stay tuned. for sitting through the Reggie's Prayer review that we just did. So now we're going to review the Reggie White versus Steve McMichaels match from WCW Slamboree 1997. If you're trying to watch along on the Peacock or the WWE Network, wherever you're located, we are starting at the 1 hour, 59 minute, and 30-second mark of the actual event. So, you guys excited to watch a Chicago Bear fight a Green Bay Packer?
As we stated about 2 minutes ago in YouTube land, I am titillated.
All right,
Yeah.
let's watch some of this. So,
Some Steiner versus.
this is actually Lawrence Taylor was an active wrestler. Not Lawrence Taylor. Sorry, I'm ahead of myself. Steve McMichael was actually an active wrestler for WCW at this time. He played for the Bears for a couple of years. I think he was with them when they won a couple of the Super Bowls. Did the Bears? No, Bears have won Super Bowls, haven't they?
One.
He might have been on that Bears team.
They won championships. Big difference.
Yeah.
Same as the Packers won a lot of championships.
Yeah.
Championships.
Both guys actually did their first wrestling thing back in the WWF because Lawrence Taylor, another football wrestler, headlined a WrestleMania fighting a wrestler named Bam Bam Bigelow, and both McMichael and White were on his bodyguard team.
All of that was news to me.
Yeah, that's a ridiculous match.
This is all WCW?
That was WWF.
Oh,
That was WWF.
I was wondering because those names are not straight WCW.
Yeah, no, that was a WWF match. Bam Bam, yep.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where Mongo McMichael was his.
I also had no idea Lawrence Taylor was a wrestler.
Yep, he wrestled once.
That explains it.
Yeah.
The match was. He needed so much help that the referee of that match was one of the guys who helped figure out how the match was going to be laid out. Because if something had to happen, they wanted him in that ring to kind of guide what was going on. So yeah, I don't know if this is actually the music Reggie White came out to or if this is an overlay.
It'll be really hard to tell because it's a bunch of white people who be dancing to it.
Yep.
Yep.
Woo! With
That's such a
yeah.
great jersey.
Yep. Actually, this WCW pay-per-view I forgot because I was looking it up when I forgot this happened. Reggie. This isn't the only these aren't the only football players wrestling on this pay-per-view. I forget the dude's name, but the main event has another football player in it.
Yeah?
Yep. Let me look it up quick.
What'd you cut to? I'm curious.
Oh, you can tell the bottom half, that's legit his uniform.
Yep, probably. It is who's the dude? Because I recognized it right away as Kevin Green. He played for the defensive end for the Los Angeles Rams, the Steelers, the Panthers, and the 49ers.
Anything notable?
I'm assuming he was with the 49ers when they won.
I recognize the name.
Yep. Yeah, he...
Not Lawrence Taylor and Reggie White.
No.
Those are big names.
Yeah, Kevin Green was another one who tried to actually get into wrestling, and he did a couple of matches. He never won any championships, so I'm not seeing...
You start the fight. No, you start the fight.
I know. BAM! Simple lockup. Yeah, so Kevin Green was also on this pay-per-view. Because at this point, WCW were actually the bigger of the two wrestling companies. But somehow they thought headlining a pay-per-view with this and then a six-man tag featuring another football player was good business.
Oh, right, that's fantastic.
Yeah, he's got the mental capacity
Yeah,
to
he
do
knows
this.
jumping.
I mean, Mongo McMichael won a a WCW championship in his career. One WCW championship.
This is some fantastic wrestling there.
Well, I mean, one of them is a guy who has probably only had a couple of weeks of training. The other one is a guy who never looked good at any point in his career.
Also appreciate how he just bounced off.
Oh, please pick up the pace a little.
This is,
Better tie up again. Come on.
Yep.
Yeah!
That's a headlock.
We haven't seen one of those this match.
Right.
what was that supposed to be?
Pushing against the
It
ropes.
was supposed to be the wrench. I like how this match has been going on, and neither guy has gotten off their feet. Like, Reggie White, I kind of get, because bumps can hurt. Even though he's a football player, he should know how to take a hit. Mongo at this point was an actual wrestler, and yet he has not gone off his feet yet.
I should have tossed him to do a toss right now.
Right? Again, I wasn't sure. I never watched this match before, so I don't know what the quality of it is. I'm pretty sure it's bad.
Oh my.
What?
What was that?
Oh crap! I was supposed to fall.
I'm unhappy. Yeah, you're unhappy. Why they didn't put? I get the Chicago Bears.
Drawing a line in the sand? What?
Oh, they're gonna really?
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
Remember when Kurt Angle did his poll where like you're gonna actually get down to wrestle stick?
Yep. That's what this looks like.
Yep. And then he cheated once it was actually his
Yep.
turn.
Because, they were both defensive players. I don't get why they... because one was a Bear, one was a Packer. I get why you want to put these guys in a match. Hey, that was
actually pretty good.
Good bump. Why you want these guys in a match? But I'm pretty sure this pay-per-view...
Oh yeah, I like that. Make it look like you hurt his knee, so that way you know why he looks bad.
Yes.
Who's the dude in Reggie's corner is my question.
I'll look that up in a second. So this is a Packer versus a Bear in Charlotte, North Carolina. So not a place
That
would care.
Yeah.
No home field advantage though.
Kent Johnson. He was a football coach.
Literally, that's all it says.
That's all it says. He coached the Cleveland Browns in '97.
All right.
He was a strength and conditioning coach. Oh, he was a coach for the Packers from '92 to '98. Wait, what?
That just happened.
Green Bay Packers from '92 to '98.
What?
Whoa!
Oh! So I guess he was one of the Packer coaches at this point of time.
You missed them doing the square off again at the line.
Yeah.
Reggie jumped over. Then they clotheslined him. Not actually in the neck. In the armpit. Through the ropes.
Okay.
Is he leaving?
Yeah, he's done.
What?
He's a heel. That's what heels do.
I'm not winning, so I'm gonna leave.
Get the money in the bank.
No, that's
Money in the bank!
no, that's not Money in the Bank.
Austin Theory. Oh, that's Gilbert Brown!
Yep. I forgot Gilbert Brown was a part of all this too.
He had to eat a whole turkey to prep for this.
The grave digger.
No, the briefcase. So Steve McMichael is part of the group called the Four Horsemen. The briefcase is his contract for being part of the Horsemen, or the payoff for being part of it. I can't remember, but he uses it as a weapon a lot.
I both wanted that to be the end and not the end at the same time.
It was a terrible dropkick.
No, it wasn't, but at the same time.
Are we doing this line of scrimmage thing again?
Also, I would rather see Gilbert Brown out there.
Oh, yeah.
Like as a cornerman or in the ring?
In the ring. Because he's actually a larger man.
Yes.
And he's still super athletic.
Gilbert Brown. He is such an awesome player.
Yeah. I mean, I get why, you pick Gilbert Brown to be, of all the Packers at this time, you want another defensive guy, and he's big.
Owie.
Well, he used to, legitimately manhandle 3 guys at a time. he would eat for his to prep for the game, eat an entire turkey.
That's a lot of turkey. I mean, I like turkey.
And his nickname was the Grave Digger.
Yes, it was.
Because he'd drill guys in the ground.
He would actually dig their graves after they played against him.
Yep.
And then he'd throw the dirt on them.
Do something!
He said a naughty word to
Yep.
the Minister of Defense.
That is true.
Oh, you did not just say a naughty word.
What? That was
What
it.
was that?
It was like that.
What was? I don't even know what that was. That was horrible. That was ugly.
That was bad.
He'd have been better off pushing him.
Right. Yeah. Get back in the ring. Get back in the ring, man. Chicago Bear.
I'm going to point out, Reggie has 2 men in his corner and he has a win.
Yep. Well, it's his wife? Question mark? Question mark?
Stage wife.
No actual wife, but not his actual wife by someone. It's Deborah McMichael, the one who would go on to manage Jeff Jarrett in the WWF, and then marry Steve Austin.
Alright.
She actually was his wife at some point, like Mongo's wife.
Oh!
Yep, go for the knee again.
Yeah, gotta go for the chop block. Yeah, stomp on it.
Gonna fake hit your knee.
At least this
Ow!
was a summer pay-per-view, so he probably didn't have to go into like training camp or anything. How dare you!
That's the Minister of Defense, sir.
I mean, Reggie's taking some good bumps.
He is. Ha! Landed on your ass.
I mean, it looks like Reggie actually took some time to learn.
Some actual moves.
Yep.
To learn how to do a punch. The haymaker action.
Yeah.
Oh, that was
Big guy
nice.
move.
That was a good high cross body.
That's exactly what you want to see out of a big guy.
Yep.
Air tackling someone.
I mean, you gotta imagine this was like an amazingly fun moment for Reggie White. Okay.
Ow!
Needs to do a little more action.
Yeah.
Sell him a little more. Looks like he's giving him a massage.
A little bit.
He needs to get some Giant Gonzalez in there.
Well, I'll say it if I want to.
You don't need to say it, Courtney. We all know you want to say it. You don't need to say it.
You go to church. This already has. Oh!
Okay.
That was a good line.
Okay.
That was a good line. Already has more faith in it than Reggie's prayer.
She's right.
It's true. He said church bells.
And Reggie also said, "You go to church."
I just had to look up how long this match is. And be surprised at how long this match is. Half crab.
I know this is supposed to be impressive, but this is legitimately how they stretch.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's a real reason why there's a huge correlation between people who played football to people who became pro wrestlers. You know,
That was a bad solo.
that was.
Yeah.
Because a lot of pro wrestlers are former football players, like from high school, college. Some professional who never got like a name for themselves or anything. dare you just throw him to the mat like that?
Keep talking about McMichael, but what about McMillan wife?
Ah! Kicked in the
And
butt.
wife.
Woo!
Chosen. Tony Schiavone, why are you saying better wrestlers' names who I'd rather be watching in this match?
Ah! Push him.
Yeah,
That was a
good.
bad. That was
Nope,
bad.
he's gonna do the Ric Flair Beetle off the top rope. Oh hey, Gilbert Brown is still out there.
Well, yeah, Gilbert Brown's gotta make sure that the guy doesn't try and sneak out.
Gilbert Brown's out there like, I'm hungry.
I could eat.
Craft Services is gonna be destroyed after this match.
I've actually seen worse matches.
No, I've seen worse too.
I mean, for an amateur, it's really not too bad.
No, it's not a bad match. And again, it wouldn't surprise me if he did this so he could get the Giant for his movie.
Yeah.
Again, I can't verify that that's exactly why. I'm just.
That wasn't a bad
That-
sell, but it was a good sell.
It was a good set.
Yeah.
It's just a weird correlation that the movie was coming out at the same time this happened. And it's, not the weirdest thing WCW has done. Okay. You guys probably don't remember this. But do you remember American Gladiators type show called Battle Dome back in the late 90s?
I think we've talked about that.
I don't remember watching it, but it sounds familiar.
Terry Crews was one of the gladiators.
Burning down the house. I'm sorry, I heard Terry.
You joking back in too soon. Terry Crews, from Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Longest. Yeah, he was one of the gladiators. I only realized that because they apparently did a crossover with WCW, and I watched a YouTube video recently going over that crossover.
Yeah, I now have to buy the box set of Brooklyn Nine-Nine because they took it off of Hulu, and I'm really sad about that.
I already own all the seasons.
Yeah, I know. That's why I didn't message you about it, because I knew you already owned them.
Yep.
Although,
Bam!
truth be told, I was surprised that wasn't one that got pulled to Peacock.
And I think it's on Peacock.
Huh. But how when Parks and Rec did, where
Yeah.
Parks and Rec got taken.
It might have been the contract. They didn't have. They still had time on the Hulu deal. Plus, it was still airing at the time.
Fair.
Ooh, suplex.
Yeah, grab those shorts.
Oh, Reggie's taking Steve to Suplex City.
Suplex City! Is she gonna try and hit him
I
with
liked
her
the
heel?
bounce before the.
Yeah.
No, he's gonna go Austin Theory on you. Look out. Oh, Gilbert, you almost fumbled that.
Yeah, Gilbert almost made it. Why it was defense, not offense.
What?
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 He tossed another one?
Hey.
That's the ending.
All right.
I guess the Bears beat the Packers?
Yeah, the Bears beat the Packers.
Yeah.
They did cheat.
Yeah, there was cheating.
There's definitely cheating.
The Bears had to cheat to win.
Okay, now which one of them is she married to? I'm gonna assume it's the dude that she coordinates with.
Nope, she's married to Steve McMichaels.
Get out of my face.
The guy who was wrestling was her husband.
Well, then tell his shorts. Because she coordinates better with the dude that tossed him a briefcase.
Yep, because that's who she would inevitably leave the company with. I don't know if they were in a relationship,
Oh.
but she would inevitably.
You see that coordination? They're already cheating with each other at this time. The affair has already started.
Which isn't the first time that. Jeff Jarrett. Okay, so Jeff Jarrett is currently married to Kurt Angle's ex-wife. She wasn't that much of Kurt Angle's ex-wife when they started. So I wouldn't be surprised if Jeff Jarrett was canoodling with other men's wives. Alright, so that was the Steve McMichael versus Reggie White match from Slamboree. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you enjoyed the whole video. Like, comment, subscribe. I forgot to say it during the actual feed. But yeah, AJ, Courtney, thank you for joining me. It's been a lot of fun, and we'll talk to you guys next week. Peace, or I will. They won't. As I talk... Oh, I'm talking the Wild Things franchise. That's what I'm covering next week.
Because it makes his heart sing.
Because I really like the first one, and I've never seen the other three, and they're all supposed to be awful. So come back next week to see what I have to say about those. Alright, back to you later. Courtney, go button.
Groovy.
I got a snort out of that joke.